Okay, so are you single? Are you single and dating during this pandemic? It all just sounds very challenging. And the big question is, has COVID-19 changed dating forever? We are about to meet 3 people that are single and dating during these last few months. But first, let's chat with Kova. Kat, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
So, has COVID changed dating forever? I would say yes, and probably in the best possible way.
Okay, please do tell. What's positive about dating right now during COVID?
So, I think COVID-19 is helping people to wake up to the importance of good hygiene, which I think is probably the sexiest thing ever, right? And I know I'm not alone here because I hear complaints all the time from other people about a partner's hygiene standing in the way of intimacy or bad breath on the first date, totally killing the vibe. So I really truly believe in the wisdom of getting clean in order to get dirty or to get close. And I think this is becoming the rule and not just the exception nowadays. Yay.
I love the positive spin on this. Yes, we want good breath on our dates. We have never been so clean. It is a good time to meet someone new. What has changed the most about dating this year, though? Have you noticed any trends, Kat?
Yeah, for sure. I think the dating world has undergone some really major changes since the start of COVID. Here are 2 trends that I've noticed. COVID-19 as a relationship accelerator. So this is something that the fantastic Esther Perel talks about. She talks about how crisis often tends to speed up a relationship's trajectory. And the reason for this, well, crises, they sort of force us to look at our time, our mortality, our values, and our life differently, which helps us to make decisions quicker. And then the second trend that has come to my attention is that while the quantity of people that you might be meeting is definitely lower, the quality of dating has vastly improved. So another positive spin, people are experiencing greater levels of loneliness, right? So they're more motivated not just to form a relationship, but to form a deep and meaningful relationship. So they'll come from a more honest place of need and with the importance of interdependency in the back of their mind. So less ego, less I, more us. And all of a sudden, we've been forced to have some really, really hard and important conversations to broach topics that are usually left out in the first few dates, like death and dying and grief and loneliness and isolation.
It's stripping down the layer. We have to get right down to the nitty gritty now because we are not spending time together. So when you have that time and that connection, you get right to it. And I think that that's fantastic. It's a very good point. Now, I remember dating my husband back in the day. Staring at our phones wasn't really a part of our lives. So we had all of those really important conversations. It was a lot different. Nice to hear that things are sort of swinging back in that direction. So I want to bring in our single and dating peeps to this panel. We've got Michelle, Matthew, and Priya with us. All of you in your 30s, all of you single and dating during this pandemic. And my question for you is, has COVID changed your dating life and how? I'm going to start with you, Michelle.
Well, hi, Tracy. Thank you for having me on and talking about this super hot topic. Full transparency, dating has been different since March for me and quiet by choice. I took it as a bit of a divine intervention and an opportunity for me to kind of sweeten my self-love and just kind of, savor the solitude of stepping up my own standards and take a look at my needs and my values and really reclaim my worth in relationship so that when I went back out and when things opened up, I had a better idea of where I was going and not making decisions based off of loneliness or boredom or someone who is presenting themselves. So, I did go on some summer dates as things opened up, but to be completely honest, at the beginning of COVID, I actually wiped my phone from anybody that I have ever dated and spoken to in the last 10 years. So that felt good. Cut those energetic ties and start fresh.
Interesting. It is a fresh start for so many of us, Michelle. Thanks for that. And Priya, what about you?
As the summer months kind of opened up and we phased into phase 2, things that seemed like you would never do, having someone come to your house or meeting someone, in a park. I would never do that. I would always go somewhere public. But I think the trust levels just kind of changed.
And Matt, from your perspective, how has dating been for you?
It's been all right. Kind of weird though. Just changes the landscape a little bit having to plan everything out the way you do nowadays. I'm typically, when it comes to dating, a little more spontaneous, which has been, I guess, sort of not really an option. You kind of have to plan where you're going, which is limited, and really like time things out perfectly if you are to make a reservation or something like that. So just like for me personally, not that it's bad, it's just weird. It's not really my style. So, it's like, got to think about like, is this going to turn into like a super spreader event or something just by meeting up with this person, which is kind of like not the right mindset to have a nice time, but it's okay. It's just different.
Have any of you ever gone on a virtual date? I'll throw this out to anyone. Michelle, have you gone on a virtual date?
Not a virtual date, but a FaceTime? Does that count?
Yeah, that counts. How was that?
FaceTime. Well, it's different when you know the person. It wasn't with a stranger. So I like it because you have the opportunity to have those slower conversations and you can get into the meat and potatoes of, the person that you're talking to and what you want and your needs. So, it's fun. It's a way to keep the distance, keep things safe, but still engage and still interact and be somewhat social.
It's almost like taking the phone call to the next level because you're looking at each other and you're interacting even though you've got screens between both of you. Over to Matthew now. What's your online dating experience been like? I heard you've been on a few virtual dates. How's that going?
It's okay, but still, again, for me, kind of weird because you got to plan it out. But the extra weird part for me is like, I'm big on like when you actually meet with somebody, like looking them in the face, but and making eye contact. But I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but when you're doing a FaceTime, you got to look at the screen, right?
Yeah.
So if you like look in the camera, it's kind of like odd because you're not looking at the person you're talking to. So it just kind of feels like I'm watching a date happen rather than being on the date, But otherwise, I guess it's just like one of those things where it's the way things are now. So it's kind of cool. It works in its own way.
Matthew, that makes so much sense. You feel like you're having an out-of-body experience. You're in it, but you're not in it because it's virtual. I get that. So, Kat,
Totally.
I'm sure you have a lot of clients with questions about online dating. You say your most average-looking photo should be at the forefront of your profile. Why is that?
Yeah, so I know it kind of sounds counterintuitive because we're all trying to make the best first impression and look our very, very best. But we know that uploading an average looking photo of yourself on your online dating profile actually gets you more connection. So if you're looking to cast the net pretty wide, aim for approachability in your online dating profile.
Thank you so much, Kat. So don't hit them with the fake lashes right off the bat. Give them something a little bit more approachable. I love that advice. Thank you to you. Thank you to our singles, Michelle, Matthew, Priya. I wish you all good luck. It sounds like your heads are in the right places. So we hope you find love.